going to do today is make clay pottery. So you have two options. You can make a functional piece or a sculptural piece. And that's something that you're going to talk about next week when you do a little critique comparing the two. So I'm going to show you the basic 3 ways to build with hand building. The first one is coil building, which you guys have already done, so I'm just going to do a basic rundown of how to do it. So step 1, start with a base. So whatever the shape of your base is the shape of your piece. If you have a square base, then your piece is going to be square. If your piece is round, then it's going to be a cylinder, okay? Single, most important thing in hand building is scratch and attach. Single most important thing. If you don't scratch and attach, your pieces will not stay together. What we want to do this year is have our pieces come out of the kiln the way we put them in. So scratch and attach everything. And that means more than just putting little marks into it and slapping another piece on top. You have to really mold it together in order for it to stay together. So scratch and attach. I'm going to scratch all the way around the perimeter of my base, really scratching, making some nice tooth in there. So why am I scratching and attaching? When you're putting clay together, if you're putting 2 smooth pieces together, it's not going to stick. But if you're creating a tooth helps your pieces stay together. So that's why we scratch and attach. Not only do I scratch and attach my base, I scratch and attach my coil as well. This helps to secure it. Some of you might ask about water. Water is not really your friend in clay. When we put our pieces in the kiln, what we're doing is evaporating the water. So adding water is doing the opposite thing. The only reason you need to add water is if your clay is really dry or if it's cracking. This clay here is really soft. It doesn't really stick to my hands. It's nice and malleable, movable, without it sticking to my hand and sticking to the table and getting all gunky all over the place. So you want to pull your coil around. You're going to take your excess coil off. If I were to overlap the coil, you can do that if you want to keep building up, but I always just take it off so that we don't have too much of a thickness there. So once you have your coil attached, you're going to notice a seam within your pottery. So what you can take is this round tool and make that seam disappear. What this does is make your piece waterproof, right? Because you're not going to trust this seam to hold your water. You're going to trust something that is smooth and almost making it disappear. So like your coil pots last year, you left your coil there, which you absolutely can do. But something that you can do with coils as well is continue to build up with them and then smooth them out, make them disappear. This can create a cylinder shape similar to the back of this cup that is just smooth. You would just have to smooth out the coils on the outside. So that's coils. Pretty basic. You should have an understanding of that already. So I'm not. Pinch pots is the next process. It's one of the most basic to get a form. So what you have to do is start with a ball of clay. Pretty simple. If you want to make 2 pinch pots that are put on top of each other, your balls of clay need to be the same size. So my ball of clay, I take my thumb and I push it in. So when you want to create kind of like a little pond or a swimming pool. And then you're going to pinch. So you're going to pinch the outside of your pot to spread it out. But you want to feel with your fingers that you're not going to go all the way through and that you're keeping a thickness that is appropriate. So you want nothing that's too thick and nothing that's too thin. So about 1/2 inch or less. So there's 1 pinch pot. What this can do is make a bowl. You can keep forming it to create a bowl that you can eat cereal out of. Or you can make another pinch pot to create a hollow form. And you would do the same thing. Put your thumb in the hollow or in the ball, pinch the outside, take your fettling knife, scratch and attach both sides, really scratch and attach it. You put them on top of each other. You can take a small coil and wrap it around which helps reinforce that gap. What you need to do is take your finger or take a tool and mold together that coil so that you're making it disappear. This is helpful if you want to make an animal, a head, things that need to be hollow in the inside, because if we put things that are thick in the clay or in the kiln, they will explode. All right, guys, what we're going to do is make a slab. That's our last hand building technique. A slab is a flat piece of clay. We make them using our slab roller, which is new this year. It costs a lot of money, so it's not a toy, and we have to really listen to the safety precautions because it can hurt you if you use it improperly. What it does is take a giant piece of clay and flatten it out. So what you need to do is make your clay a solid piece of clay. You don't want to piece together things and throw it under because that's not going to work. It has to be nice and solid, and you have to create a ramp, kind of like a bicycle ramp at home, because there's going to be a ball that rolls up onto the clay. If you have the ball go this way, it's not going to do anything. So you have to create a ramp there. So I have my solid piece. It's all ramped up. You're going to bring it over to the slab roller. First, I'm going to show you a little bit about the slab roller. So this is the wheel. This is what turns the roller in between your clay. If you zoom in, Mrs. West, you'll see when I spin the wheel what it's doing. It's kind of like a fondant roller when you watch Cake Boss. You can see that it spins. What you want to never do is have your fingers anywhere near it. Your fingers should never touch this metal here, and the clay should never touch this metal, because metal rusts if it gets wet, so we never want the clay to touch this. These here raise and lower this ball. These are going to be already adjusted to a thickness that is good for all of your pieces. So I would keep these what they are. What you're going to take is your canvas. It's the same process as when you go to bed or making a sandwich. So you have two blankets. You have your comforter and your sheet. What you need to do is put your body in between the two. Or you have your top bun and your bottom bun, and you need to put your patty in the middle. What that does is send it through the rollers without the clay touching the rollers. So what you need to do is make sure that the blanket is on top of itself perfectly. And then you're going to push it through the balls, just a little bit, through the balls, through the rollers, so that it has a little bit already through. You can lift up, and you can see where all the clay's already been. It's already dirty here. You're going to take your ramp and put the ramped edge under the rollers. Tuck it in there nice and good. You can do two next to each other, but not too close because they will form into one. But you can't put them to the edge because what this is going to do is flatten this out, and it will fall off the edge, and it will be creased by your canvas, and you don't want that. So make sure that you have it either perfectly in the middle or two on each side, right about here or here. And you can see that people don't do it on these sides. So that's kind of your no clay area. So you got your body in your blanket, you're going to close your bun, and then you're going to roll. So if you want your canvas to go this direction, you need to turn the wheel in this direction. You can use this press in both directions. So if I push it through that way, I can also push it through that way. So what you need to do is have a partner tug on this just a little bit to get the clay to go under the wheel, and then you're just going to turn. And you don't want to stop, you want to gradually turn. Not too quick and not too slow. It is a little difficult, so you got to use some elbow grease. And then you open up and you have a surprise. And this is kind of like your aha moment. Like, what can I make with this giant slab? You can pick it up and you can carry it right back to your workstation. If you need two canvases from over there, you can grab two so that the clay stays on your canvas. It's okay to touch the plastic, it's not going to stick, but you can get crease marks from where the canvas stops. So what you can do with a slab is take stencils. There's all kinds of shapes over there, circles, rectangles, squares, and you can also make your own stencil if you want to. So what I'm going to do is lay this on my piece of clay. I'm going to take my fettling knife and hold it straight up and down. If I hold it at an angle, it's going to cut at an angle. So you need to hold it straight up and down and just glide. Glide across. Your fettling knife isn't really sharp enough to cut you, but it is sharp enough to cut the clay. My stencil's not long enough, so I'm just going to move it down and continue to cut. Until I'm left with a nice piece. I'm going to take my excess away. And then you're left with a really long rectangle. So what you can do with this is build a box, a jewelry box. You can also distort it into maybe some kind of abstract sculpture. But what I'm going to do is a process of a slump mold. Now, a slump mold is using a mold, and then you're going to slump clay over the mold. Pretty easy, slump mold, right? It's the same way that I made these face mugs. I used a little Hershey Park cup, wrapped my slab around, and then coiled some faces on the front of them. So your mold needs to be wrapped in paper. You can just roll it along the newspaper, stuff it in the inside, and tape it on the top. Pretty easy. I have it upside down with the bigger side on the bottom, just so I can pop my mold out when I'm done. I'm going to take my slab and wrap it around my mold, nice and tight so that it forms the same form as the cup. I'm going to cut it off where it's extra. Now I have all that extra there to use for something else. So what you need to do is scratch and attach. Like I said, scratch and attach is the single most important process. And that really means scratch it. Score it really nicely. Some of you are scared to mess up your pieces because of this, but I promise you, if you don't do it as good as I'm doing it right now, if you can look and zoom into that, really scratch and attach, it's not going to come out of the kiln the way we put it in. So you really need to scratch and attach if you want your piece to stay together. So now I'm going to attach it. So if I just left it like that, it's not going to stay together. You need to take your fingers or the tools that you have available to you and mold it together by just pushing. You want to basically make that seam or that crease disappear. You can also take your tools and scrape away extra lumps that aren't supposed to be there. And then you're left with a cylinder. So what you need to do is have your partner or somebody next to you hold it so they can pop out the cup. You're going to use the back of the fettling knife, not the front, because you will stab your cup and cut a hole in it. You don't want to do that. The back of your knife, and pop it out. What you're left with is a cylinder shape. But the cylinder shape still has a crease on the inside. You're not going to trust drinking out of something that has a crease on the inside. So we have to do the same thing as we did on the outside and mold it together. So once you have that complete, you need to make a base. So what you can do is take your extra slab, put your piece right on top, and cut out. This is better for having the base be exactly the same size as the bottom of your cup, because if I try to eyeball it, my circle's probably not going to be the right size. So just use your cup as a stencil. Cut out your base. So you'll see I'm left with a circle, and what I need to do is scratch and attach my bottom and my base and attach. What you also then need to do is look at the inside of your cup. Am I going to trust that seam to hold water? No. So we got to take a coil like we did with the pinch pot method and reinforce. Coils are more than just making coil pots. They can be made for reinforcement. So what I can do is drop my coil in there, take my round wooden tool, and make that seam disappear. I'm basically making that coil go away. And then you're left with a cup. You can then attach a handle, put a face on it. You can also keep building cylinders on top of each other to go higher. You can put them on their side, make like a tunnel. whatever you want.